Warriors! It's Coach JV. But before I get started, this is by far the most important crypto video we have ever done as a research team. There's a critical thing happening tomorrow. You must share this video with your friends and family. It is very critical that you in the crypto space get involved. It's time for the people to stand up for their rights. This could be the most critical decision made in crypto history. Like I said, my name is Coach JV. I am the top health and mindset coach in the world and crypto coach. What you believe in your heart, you think in your mind will eventually become your words and become your reality. If you can see it in your mind, eventually you can hold it right here in your hands. Listen, what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mind. What gets ingrained in your subconscious mind becomes an unconscious activity. And the truth is, the reality that you're living right now is thoughts, actions, and behaviors that have been programmed into you since you were a young child. Now, what's happening right now in the crypto space is unbelievably critical. We're starting to see some positive price appreciation, but it's going to get really confusing, Warriors. There's a bill that was put out, okay? And there's these little things that happen. I know Johnny's going to dive into this, a little bit of history of what happened back in 1913, right? 1913, right? And so basically what happens is they slip these tiny little things in these infrastructure bills on page 10,674,000. And all of a sudden, if nobody's paying attention, this thing passes. So you have to pay attention, Warriors. We have a research team here that spends 8 to 9 hours a day researching for you guys to bring you information. We are not financial advisors. We are not here to tell you what to do with your money. We're telling you not to believe a word I say. Why would you believe four dudes with cut off shirts, the most handsome people on YouTube? I wouldn't. But what we are here to do is to give you knowledge and education. We know you're working hard, full-time jobs. These guys have full-time jobs as well. But we're working hard to bring you the information so you can make an informed decision. So the fact is, I'm going to share my screen really quickly, but the fact is, Warriors, is this is the type of things that are happening. So you can go and look up all this stuff, Warriors. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of some of the top things that are happening, okay? So this is a GLI, the Global Legal Insights, okay? So these are the things you have to think about. I know we're all talking about price appreciation and getting rich in crypto, but take the get rich quick thing off and really understand that you are investing in the new infrastructure of the world. Let me repeat that. You are investing in the new financial infrastructure of the world. So really grab onto that. Put yourself into a 30,000-foot overview and think of when we went from telephone to internet. There was regulation, there was suing. Think about Tesla, Amazon, right? First they resist it, they regulate it, they sue it, then they join it, or sue it, regulate it, then they join it. So we're in this middle ground, right? And most of you are going to get FUD out of the marketplace. But see, these are some things to think about before I kick it around the group. So you got number one, you got government attitude and definitions. You got sales regulations. You got securities laws. You have money transmission laws and anti-money laundering requirements. We have taxation. We have promotion and testing, ownership and licensing requirements. Okay. We have mining, border restrictions and declarations, reporting requirements, estate planning and testimony, you know, my reading, succession. Okay. Think about that. These are just a few things, Warriors, just a few things that are on the table. You're heading into a brand new asset class since the 1600s. There is so much to come. So it's like riding a bull right now. You got to hang on for the ride. So we're going to kick it around the group. And the reason why this is a most important video, there's something big happening tomorrow. Okay. There's something really big, and they're all going to talk a little bit about that. But you have to listen, Warriors. And this is your time to get involved. This is your time to get involved. So I'm going to kick it over to Johnny Crypto. So Johnny Crypto, what do you got for us about what's happening tomorrow?
All right, Coach. So tomorrow's probably going to be one of the biggest votes in the crypto world. As there's a Senate bill out there that's going to talk about regulating crypto, and the guys will take you a little bit more through the details of it. What I want to bring is, so it's a huge vote tomorrow, so it's important that everybody, reaches out to their congressmen, their local senators. Look them up in your ears, and make sure you're calling and writing them and emailing them between today and tomorrow to tell them where you stand. Get on their case. But here's what's happening in a nutshell. So I'm going to break it down for the layman. Basically, you have this entire, close to $2 trillion market right now that's trading and growing, right? And as that grows over time, there's people making tons and tons of profit right now, right? Now, this is really all about just the IRS wanting to get their money. That's all this is in a nutshell. Making sure that they're taxing people on those profits and losses, right? Or primarily the profits, because they want their tax dollars. This happened in 2011 with the stock market. Prior to then, it was primarily almost an honor system. So when you were trading stocks and bonds, you would report yourself to the IRS of what you were making each year, what you made in stocks, what you bought, what you sold, and whether it was a short-term or long-term gain. And then the IRS would tax you on what you reported. That was called, like, in a way, like the honor system. Well, in 2011, they passed a bill, no different than what they're proposing tomorrow, which says if you're a broker, like an E-Trade or Ameritrade or all these different brokers out, Charles Schwab, you now have to report to the IRS a 1099 of all the buys and sells that this person made. So what does that do? Well, that means now the IRS has a record of what you bought and sold. Now you can't lie to them and tell them what you bought and sold. You have to be honest and report what you bought and sold, because they know it. And they'll check your numbers versus their numbers. And if they're not the same, you're going to get audited. Right. So that forced people to say, hey, I got to report my true profits. Well, right now we have this new market, this crypto world, where if you're on Kraken or Coinbase or BitTrue, none of those are reporting anything to the IRS right now. There's no 1099 going out telling them Coach JV bought Bitcoin yesterday at this price and sold it, a year from now at that price, and here's the profit. That's all this is about, is documenting it, creating documentation that's going to capture what people bought and sold so they can tax you properly. That, in a nutshell, is what it's all about. The problem is the way they wrote the language, and the guys will go into more detail where the problem is. So that's what's coming. If they do it right, okay, it'll regulate the industry. And my feeling is the big boys, they're not going to let this industry grow until they know they can tax it properly. So I think this is just their plan of saying, hey, let's set it up properly. Let's make sure we can capture all the profits. And once it's set up, boom, we'll let this thing go. But there's some wording in the language that's tricky, and I'll pass it on to the rest of the guys to go into more detail what's happening there.
Well, that's really powerful. Let's talk about from a banking perspective. That's why Jamie Dimon says banks should be scared shitless of fintech, because what happens is, think about this. So if there's not the reporting from the exchanges, and I could transact, if I could send you Ethereum, right? There's no intermediary needed. We can send it. It's a trustless system. People get confused with trustless. Trustless means there's no intermediary. You don't even know what's going on with me. I send you money, right? And so there's no bank in between. So what happens now is, how did they get their reporting on your monetary system as an individual? Was when you put large amounts into your bank account, right? So they could see how much money you had coming in there, and the IRS could say, hey, listen, you had about $200,000 come in this year and you only reported this much. There's something off with the system. So that's where we're in this weird balance of this new monetary system, right? It's like, oh shit, like there could be money running across the rails and we have no idea, and we don't get our piece of the pie. So let's kick it over to Mario. Mario, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I took a look at the whatever was available from this bill, and the crypto specific provision. They're trying to raise $28 billion towards the $1 trillion in infrastructure. The amendment requires new surveillance of all new crypto users. So it goes back to what Johnny was saying. So they're trying to get to all these crypto users. I think going through the exchanges kind of makes sense. We have to pay the taxes. There's nothing we can do about that. But also, anyone who uses crypto would practically become a broker, like Johnny was saying, or have to use a broker to send crypto anywhere, which is the complete opposite of what crypto is meant to be, a peer-to-peer digital money. DEXs, anything crypto related, would have to be reported to the SEC and IRS. They require name, addresses, and all transactions to be reported. Regulation is coming. It can be positive, it can be negative. It's important to know and be prepared for any scenarios we're invested in a speculative asset class. This is the time for all crypto to come together, in my opinion. This is a unity moment. It's not about Bitcoin, it's not about Ethereum or even XRP. It's about the crypto industry. And we're here because we believe in it. And I'm sure I can speak for everyone here in the panel. We love the technology. It's exciting, gives us a little bit more power than we typically have. And they don't want us to have that power.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you said we need to come together. That's the thing. Take off your XRP hat, take off your Bitcoin hat, your Ethereum hat, your ADA. Charles Hoskins said it the best this morning. Go watch his video. It's posted about 7 hours ago as we're filming this. He does a really, really good video around basically, like, guys, Put the gloves off. Take the gloves off. We came from where, so why did you get into crypto? To be decentralized, right? To be not controlled. And in the controlled system, we're talking about left, right, taking the V, not taking the V, the C, not the C. And then you come to crypto and then you're like, it's Bitcoin versus Ethereum. You're doing the exact same thing. We came here to be decentralized, not to fight, not against each other. And I think that's the most important thing is, and another thing to think about it, what Mario was saying is, guys, they're in crypto as well. They're in crypto as well. So they're just trying to figure out that's one thing I want you to think about. A lot of these top level people, these are elites, right? They have a lot of money. They're in crypto. I guarantee you they're in crypto. They're not going to pass any regulation, in my opinion, that's going to hurt their crypto bags or hurt their financial future. So it's all going to be based on its money flows. That's all it is. It's just where the money flows, where the money goes. And if they know this is a new monetary system, which we know, if you really go through the Aspen security meeting, if I'm saying it correctly, I deep dive. I was watching Gary Gensler's over and over again. I'm listening to his words, and he loves crypto. People are going after him saying he doesn't like crypto. He loves the technology, right? They don't want to stifle innovation. They just want regulation. And why do they want regulation? Because they want the piece of the pie. It's like God says, nothing new under the sun. And it's always been this way. So I appreciate that, man. And as Mario says, we got to come together. So Abdullah, what are your thoughts?
So I heard some really interesting quotes from Gary Gensler that I wanted to touch upon, where I feel like there's two sides to this whole regulation thing. There's the people who are taking a pessimistic view, which I totally agree with, that the government sees this new booming industry and they want a piece of the pie, like Johnny just did. The money, baby. That's what everyone's after. The money makes the world go round. But Gary Gensler had a really good analogy where he talked about when cars were first implemented, it wasn't easy to drive that car on the road. It wasn't until we had a solid system and solid structure for those cars to travel that we got the most out of those vehicles. And crypto is that new technology where you're looking at an entire new innovative industry where nobody knows what's going to happen over the next 12 to 18 months. But if you take a long-term mindset and you see that there's already mass adoption taking place, there's already institutions loading up on cryptocurrencies, there's already regulation in place behind the scenes. As I was deep diving this weekend, I saw that there's 15 Bitcoin ETFs who have filed with the SEC waiting for regulation, just waiting for the go-ahead to get on the markets. And when you take 15 Bitcoin ETFs, that shows you that there are billionaires and billion-dollar industries just sitting waiting to get their piece of the pie. But what the SEC is supposed to be doing is protecting investors. And a lot of times we stray away from that mindset where it seems like they're the enemy and it seems like we have to protect ourselves from these regulators, when in reality, they were created to protect us. So it's important to have that hindsight that we're not competing with these investors, but it's important to move with them. So when it comes to the validating of with the terminology that was in the bill that's being passed tomorrow or being voted on tomorrow, they wanted to make everyone as a broker. So if I send money to Johnny Crypto, I am now a broker facilitating a cryptocurrency deal, and they want to be not only reported but get a piece of the pie. That is totally opposite to what the idea behind cryptocurrency was. We're supposed to be moving away from these regulators and becoming our own independent economies, and inevitably we'll get there. But it's kind of like the security tokens, where if we can create these micro economies where we don't need a facilitator, we don't need an intermediary taking a part of a transaction, we can handle these things on our own, then it's not necessary to have, institutions trying to get a piece of our money when they're not actually facilitating anything that we can't do ourselves. So it's important to realize that the regulators are working with us and supposed to be working for us and not against us, even though a lot of times it does feel that way. And that it seems like the more I listen to Gary Gensler talk, he's more focused on getting things correct than he is in doing them in a timely manner. I remember when he first came in April, everyone was saying, look, Clayton's gone and we got this new regulatory framework that's going to be coming in. And as much as I wanted to believe that case, that precedent, it doesn't seem like that's how politics work. It seems like they take a long-term outlook. They want to get things correctly, and they don't really give a shit what me and Johnny Crypto and Mario and Coach JV think, because we're just along for the ride anyways. But the more I become comfortable with the mindset that they're on our side and they do want what's best for this environment in the long term, and they want a piece of their pie as well, so they're not going to crash this industry. It's just about how we can get to that point where they can benefit the most and we can also be along for the ride. I kind of become comfortable with the idea that, I don't believe that this bill will get passed if we take the correct actions. Like Johnny said, reach out to your senators, reach out to your politicians, and make your voice heard. It's that herd mentality. If they get thousands of phone calls and they realize people really care about this, they're going to put their word in. So it's as simple as that. We got to voice ourselves, and hopefully things will play out in the correct way.
Yeah, I love that, man. Because think about this too, how far the can's been kicked down the road, right? So we're in a monetary system. More money's been printed since the inception of Bitcoin than in history. About 26% of the money supply has been in the last 10 months since the C word, right? And so we're in this monetary system. It's almost like you're so far down the road. It's like, we have to fix this. So we can look at the nefarious side of it, right? We have to fix this somehow. And we want to move over into this new monetary system, right? And it's maybe it creates an even playing field, but how do you slowly and methodically move over while keeping the credit flows going? Because it's all about money flow, right? It's just about money flow. Where the money flows, right? That's where the power is. And so you could say it's power, you could say it's a power struggle, whatever it is, but we have a broken monetary system worldwide. I mean, Canada's in the same position as well. I mean, you could go to all the different countries. Maybe China's the only one that has a positive. I think China is one of the countries has positive GDP, right? So most countries are in a negative GDP, which is gross domestic product versus the debt, right? Stock market's overvalued by 234%. We're on the precipice of probably one of the biggest financial collapses in history since 1929. And so they're like, okay, how do we get set up and not completely collapse the monetary system? So if you look at it from Abdullah's side saying, hey, listen, think about being, okay, let's people are going to get pissed. I don't care what you say in the code. Okay, put yourself in their shoes for just a moment and think, okay, this is the biggest decisions in history right now. You have a brand new, they're the person making policies and regulations on a brand new asset class, right? Or you could just say, hey guys, go, be free will. Well, look what freaking free will did in America. We're the most obese. We're the freaking most addicted. When you give people tons of freedom, for some reason, we can't regulate that as human beings. And I'm a freedom company, right? But we're just giving you all sides of the coin. All sides of the coin, right? So if you just said, hey, what is it where you just there was no rules, there's no law, just go out there, people would be murdering each other. It would be absolute chaos. So you want to look at both sides, and that's what we want to do for you guys on this channel is we're going to bring different walks of life. For example, I got a lot of comments when I bring people on talking about geometry or numbers, right? Oh, you say you follow God, you follow the life of Jesus. Who created numbers? Well, if you believe in a God, who created numbers? Who created words? Who created books? And so, we don't argue left, right, up, down. I don't care if you're Catholic, Mormon. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. The fact is, all I care about is we come together as one unit in this moment in time to help change the whole infrastructure of the world. So,
Coach, there's one more thing I wanted to add. So I can remember last summer when people were saying that cryptocurrency was a fraud. It wasn't that long ago that we were talking about, is it going to be bullcrap? Is it going to be one of these things that goes up and comes down and you lose 80% of your profits? But you see how quickly the sentiment changed. We're sitting here 12 months later. Not only have institutions invested billions, not only is the market cap reached well over $1 trillion, almost $2.5 trillion at one point, but also we're sitting here talking about regulations and how those are going to play out. Not if that's going to happen, not when that's going to, but how is that going to happen? And that transition, it shows how quickly things can change. So I can only imagine where we're going to be in the next 12 to 24 months. And if you really take a long-term look, that's a very short amount of time.
It's super short. You're right. I mean, think about that. We were all locked down last year saying cryptocurrency is a fraud. People are looking at us like we're crazy, and the interesting thing is too, you got to look at any area where they start to shadow ban or reduce views on. That's where you should be investing. That's in my opinion, a lot of the YouTubers, right? All of us, our channel is starting to get less and less views. If you put the word crypto in it, as soon as we put the word crypto in our title, we started getting less and less views, which is totally fine because our mission and purpose is to help those who have ears to hear, right? And the people who have ears to hear will find us. That's a really good point. Last year, people were sitting in the barbershop and be like, cryptocurrency is a fraud. And now we're literally sitting here anxiously waiting for 24 hours for one of the biggest crypto bills or something that got put into an infrastructure bill. That's really interesting to think about a year from now. And then the one thing I keep thinking about a lot is how early we are as crypto investors. How early we are. Like, I think was Gary Gensler? Somebody said there's Gary Gensler. He said there's $100 trillion market out there.
Yes.
We just capped we're just under 2 trillion, like $100 trillion market. And if this is truly the new infrastructure and the way we do things through blockchain technology and the way we're going to move money around the system, we're literally we're the Bilderbergs. We're the new, really think about that. My son just walked out. He was playing, he corrected me, Roblox or one of the things. And it had a freaking Dogecoin on the back of the chairs in the theater. He goes, Dad, look at Dogecoin. And I'm like, it's on my story on Instagram. Go look at it right now. I was like, what the? Okay. All right, this is crazy. Like they're starting so early with the kids. It has a Dogecoin on the back of the theater chair. I was like, are you kidding? He knows what Dogecoin is. So it's like, it starts very, very early. So I'm just very grateful to you guys. Number one, I want to give you guys a shout out in front of everybody. These guys put in a lot of work behind the scenes. And I wish I could say I did this all by myself, but no, I don't. There's a huge team behind the scenes that helps us with this. And I'll tell you what, we are going to become one of the most sought after crypto channels in interview wise, because what we're doing is we're bringing everybody together. We're not about Bitcoin maximalists, XRP maximalists. We want to hear all belief systems, and we want to work together with everybody to make this a better space. So make sure you reach out to your senators. This is a great time to get involved. Show your kids, hey, I'm getting involved in something special. Show them let them watch you call your senator. Standing up for your rights. So let's do this, Warriors. Let's come together. Make sure you share this video with your friends and family. If we can do anything to support you guys, remember in the comments down below, what would you like us to cover as we go into our next week? So any final round stuff that you guys like to cover at all?
Yeah, Coach. So as we go around, I think there is a little bit of hope here. So we know there are a few senators out there, Senator Toomey and a couple others, who recognize that the way the language is written today is problematic for the industry. It captures, any non-centralized exchange. So before, I think I might have said Coinbase as one of the ones that would be in trouble, and that's not true. It's the non-centralized exchanges that are going to have to report miners. If you're a Bitcoin miner, you have to report every transaction. Can you think of that? I mean, that's just going to shut all them up. So what I think is the good news is you got some senators that recognize this are going to try to fix it. And the other thing is, if they don't, basically, I think what's going to happen is, they're already talking about, you're going to see a lot of these companies move out of the U.S. They're going to go into a different country, and they'll set up an exchange there, and we'll have to trade through there, or they'll block Americans from trading. So, let's hope that doesn't happen. I think the good news is there are senators who recognize that. So get on the phone today and tomorrow. Let all your senators know you have no time. We got a day left to do this. Get out there. As soon as you hear this video, when it's over, pick up the phone and give them a call and say, hey, what's going on here? I don't want to see this thing regulated where, where regular, normal people are getting. This should be intended for brokers and exchanges, and not just normal people and miners getting. So that's the kind of message you want to tell them is, hey, I don't want to see this industry killed. So please do things, put things in place, change the language so that it's not, debilitating to the business, to the industry.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to really kind of hone in on for people, because it's like he said, it's normal everyday people have to be licensed as a broker just to move cryptocurrency. So that's the biggest part, where they just changed the language, and I think it was page 2,347 or something.
Yeah,
making up, it was something like that. It just slipped in there. It's like 2 paragraphs. You can read it, and now when I read it, it was confusing to me. I'm like, what the hell is this? So if you didn't know how to read that type of stuff, I mean, it was just a little language change. If that would have passed and nobody paid attention to that, it would have changed our whole crypto space could have collapsed. And so, yeah, it's just amazing. Anybody else have any last words?
Mario?
No, I just want to echo what Johnny said. I mean, that's the most important thing you can do right now is just get on the phone. You can also tweet, email, just make your voices heard. We want to make sure this goes the right way, not just the way it is right now.
Awesome. Abs, you want to take us home?
Yeah, so a really interesting fact is I know it can be frustrating to be super early in this industry, but it's really a positive thing, because I saw a great statistic the other day. A $10,000 investment in Bitcoin in 2010 is worth $500 million today. Let me repeat that. $10,000 turned into $500 million in 10 years. So if you take a long-term outlook and you're looking at ADA, XRP, HBAR, VeChain, XLM, whatever cryptocurrency you're interested in, if you take a 5, 7, 10-year outlook, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars on every $1,000 you invest. So I just want to keep that positive mindset. I know it can be frustrating, but we see this is one of the most innovative markets out there, and I'm really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, I love that. And think about this too. A lot of people tell me, oh, I don't have money to invest. Here's what I would do. Go do Postmates, make $25 a night. You would make $720, $750 a month. Take that $750 a month that you didn't have before, right? Cut out a couple nights of Netflix, put that into ADA, Ethereum, not financial advice, crypto.com, whatever you think is the best suited for you, and just let it set it and forget it. That set it and forget it, and that dedication for maybe a couple hours per night. If you're a couple, watch the kids, boom, switch back and forth, and do that for a year and a half and see what happens. Basically what I did. That's what I did. I literally drove Postmates. So I didn't do Postmates. Sorry, I did Uber. I was flipping vacuums. Every dime I had, I put into crypto. I got in, I consider it early, but about a year and a half ago. And it literally, my whole life changed in a year and a half. And I'm like, now I just continue that activity. Anytime I get extra money, I basically tax myself when I get paid. Today, I got paid for my companies and I tax myself 10% and it goes into crypto. And then, so we have so much to share with you guys. I could go down this whole rabbit hole, but please share this video with your friends and family. This is by far the most important video we've ever done. Crypto history is on the line tomorrow. It's like our Super Bowl, man. Stop watching the damn WAP videos and make sure you're paying attention, Warriors. We love you guys. We appreciate you. And as we always say, Warriors, rise. Let's get your shit together. Let's go.